Alrighty, good evening, everyone, and welcome back to another Amusement Park Pirates podcast. Thank you all so much for joining us today. We have the one and only theme park conductor here as our special guest. There is a lot of theme park news and updates that just dropped over the past few weeks. We are here to cover it all. And feel free to stop us for at any time during this podcast for discussion, because this is a podcast, and we are all here to. We just like to invite you guys for discussion. So let's see. We have Dragon Blood. Welcome in. Good to see you. Buzz Lightyear fan, welcome in. Good to see you. We are doing well. Let's see. See you later, Buzz. Study hard. So let's start things off with just introducing yourself, theme park conductor. And please tell our viewers where they can find you and any new content on the horizon.
Absolutely. Again, I'm sorry it's been so long since I've been on the channel. I've been meaning to come back, so I'm glad I was able to make time out of my schedule to be on your live stream. I cannot wait to talk about all the topics we got for tonight. But like Amusement Park Pirates said, I'm theme park conductor. You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, Blue Sky at Theme Park Conductor. You can also find me on TikTok at Theme Park Conductor 1. You can also find me on X at Theme Conductor. And you can find me every Sunday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for Conductor Sunday live stream, where we have amazing guests like the one and only Orange Grove 55, Tommy Toon World, and soon to be, again, Amusement Park Pirates will be joining us on many of our live streams coming up. I know I've kind of taken a little hiatus from it, but I am going to get back into it probably this coming week or next week. And then also what Amusement Park Pirates was mentioning, I do have all POV videos of Halloween Horror Nights. So if you're interested about checking those out from Hollywood, I do have them on my YouTube channel now. And I do have some content from Disney and Universal. And if anyone's going to be at Universal Studios Hollywood tomorrow, I am actually going to be there because a good friend of mine just gave me some news that they are going to be opening the gift shop at the Fast and Furious Hollywood Drift Show building is opening tomorrow. So I'm going to be doing a POV video of that and probably doing another TikTok live. So that's where you can find me.
Nice. And you can find us here at Amusement Park Pirates and Amusement Park Pirates Podcast. We are live every once a week, Thursday and Friday, Thursdays or Fridays, depending on the week. And you can find us here on YouTube, Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok as well. So hopefully you follow us because we have a lot of things coming your way. So it is not to be missed as well. So we have Tony O'Tower. Welcome in. Another one of our moderators. Good to see you. So first and foremost, let's talk about Destination D23. There has been a lot of announcements that, well, first of all, at first that there seemed to be no parks panel, but then they proved us wrong with sneaking in a few announcements from D23. And I do have the Disney Parks blogs up um, as well. But starting off with theme park conductor, what what announcement seemed best, or rather, like, wow to you?
So, Destination D23, and I talked about this on Orange Grove 55's channel. It's one of those conventions that's kind of like I would call it like the sidekick of conventions for Disney, because obviously you got Batman, which is D23 in Anaheim every 2 years, and then Destination is kind of like Robin in a way. Um, one of the updates that I saw, and you might have to clarify it for me, Pirates, is because I can't really remember because I've had a lot on my mind. But what you were saying about, them sneaking in certain um parks announcements really got me going, because when they made the announcement initially, like you said, where they're not going to have any parks news whatsoever, it's only going to be movies, media, and stuff like that. I was kind of thinking in the back of my mind, I'm like, that doesn't seem right. But I think them clarifying on just Cars Land, and then giving us an update on the newest episode from Walt Disney Imagineering on their YouTube channel about the castle parks. I definitely encourage your viewers to go check that out, because it was a amazing episode. They talked about each castle park under the Walt Disney name. So that was very, very cool. The one thing I was kind of shocked about was villains, even though it was not live streamed. One thing I found interesting, I was talking to George from Citrico Central about this, was the mere fact that we really didn't get any updates about villains, which I found very interesting to me. I kind of felt like there was no news that came out of that panel from what I heard, because I did have a friend boots on the ground that went to that it could not been live streamed. So I was kind of conflicted on what they did announce for the parks. Um, but the way I see Destination D23, since it happens, literally what 7-8 months after or D23, is the mere fact that they kind of gave us updates about Avengers Campus. They kind of gave us updates about what they're strategizing for Pandora out here in Anaheim for DCA. They kind of talked about a little bit of the Lion King attraction and Disneyland Paris, and then just all the stuff that's going on in Walt Disney World. They kind of clarified that a little bit more. I wouldn't have been okay with that, but it kind of seemed like it was a little bit lackluster. A lot of people that I talked to that were there said it was not even worth the money they paid for it, which was a lot.
Mm. Yeah, I could see your point. Absolutely. So,
So,
but
going forward, I would say, just to clarify it, is I think if they're going to continue Destination D23, I think they need to have a third day, and it basically kind of just gives updates about, you know, existing projects that were announced at D23. Because one of the things I take away from D23, and I'm hoping to go next year, because it's, from what I heard, it's like Armageddon trying to get tickets. Um, uh,
yeah,
is that I'm hoping in the future Destination D23 has a third day just to update about current park projects and leave brand new announcements, especially for the parks, and leave that to D23 and not kind of give recaps. So they're off to a great start though, and DCA, you know, obviously you're going to be rope dropping DCA tomorrow. I can't wait to see pictures and video clips and even a video from your channel. But one thing I it's kind of like a running joke for me is Avengers Campus. So you got two attractions, Avengers Affinity Defense, which is the e-ticket attraction, and you got Stark Flight Labs, which we weren't even supposed to get. That was just like a bonus. Um, I've never seen, at least since I've been alive, I've never seen Disney move so fast on a future expansion for the Disneyland Resort. I make
Mhm.
it a running joke. I say, did they hire someone from Universal Creative to run that project to build those two attractions? Because it seems like every couple of days they're adding new steel and new foundation and new something new with that project instead of it being stagnant. So I'm super excited for that.
Yeah, just trying to get like a current photo.
Sure.
Um, let's see. I think this should be it. Um,
Okay.
this is just a random
Sure.
photo. I'm sure this looks pretty, um, like pretty fast
Yeah.
going, but yeah, I think the last time that we went there, uh, it was like one half of like the roofing was already done,
Okay.
uh, and they had like one opening of the roof, like of the show building done, or like halfway, or rather, it's halfway done pretty
Yeah. So
much of the
when you
roofing.
go tomorrow and you take a comparison photo, it's going to look nothing like what you have on the screen. There is so much more built to it when you go tomorrow. You're going to be mind blown how fast they're going. And someone in the chat, I think it was MH Real said, I think they did hire someone from Universal. That's what I'm thinking because they
Mhm.
again I've never seen Disney move this fast on the project ever in my life. So I'm not, I'm not downing it. I love it because I kind of feel with the Disneyland Resort is if they're gonna increase prices for annual or for Magic Key holders, they're gonna increase prices for merch, for food, for entertainment, or even have less entertainment. They need, these projects need to, you know, be built as quick as they can, but also not rushing them because I know and I've seen it before where Disney has rushed projects and come to find out it wasn't their best result. So in a way I want them to move fast, but I also want them to build quality. I don't want them to just slap something together just to say, "Oh, look, we opened something." So, that's the way I look at it.
Yeah, and like also too, like how fast did Epic Universe go?
So,
Um,
Epic
now we're on the topic of now we're on the topic of the expansion of Avengers
sure.
Campus. Um, I'm just comparing it to how much effort and work that people from the East Coast, especially also too the Fast and Furious coaster
Sure.
too, here in
Sure.
Hollywood. Look at how they've been doing things. And so I think one comment that I saw, and this is very true. I think it's just the Epic Universe effect because remember when Epic Universe first opened, um, it was like, oh, Disney is probably going to, you know what? Um, so I mean, I'm glad that they are doing something about it, especially here in DCA, because Tiana's, for example, uh, Tiana's took like more than, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 months, almost a year. Um, so I'm glad in seeing that they are really going fast. And speaking of D23 next year, I really hope, and this is probably going to be another live stream to talk about this going down in uh, 2026 when we're talking about D23, is um, the announcement of more details coming to these new attractions coming to Avengers Campus next year.
So you make a valid point. So I'm going to start from the top down when you say about Epic Universe. Epic Universe, which is really interesting to me because Epic Universe, to give them credit, they've been talking about Epic Universe since I think I was told back in, I don't know, 2010. And then, they're working out logistics, which is understandable because they didn't say one word about it, until it came to fruition, which was what, 2020, I would say 2021, maybe even 2020. Um, and the mere fact that they were able to build a brand new park with multiple lands, multiple attractions, build 3 hotels, one that's in the park, 2 that are literally outside the park, and to build that in 4 years or less is phenomenal. And then if you look at Universal, they're building the Kids Texas Park, which has been moving extremely fast. And then you look at the UK project, they're already starting plans for land clearing for the UK park. But going back to Epic Universe, it hasn't even been open a year and they're already expanding. Because one of the problems with Epic
Mhm.
Universe is it's a brand new park. There's not a lot of shade because the trees they planted are very young, so there's not a lot of shade. And then on top of that, there's 11 attractions, and more than half of those attractions are outdoors. So when the weather just goes bad in Florida, which it just happens to do all the time, most of the attractions close down. So I think going forward with the expansion, they're going to try to build more attractions that are indoor but also outdoor as well. As you have it pulled up on the map, they have 2 expansion slots. They actually have more expansion slots, but these are the 2 that have been highly highlighted at this point. And then we saw from Alicia Stella from Theme Park Stop probably a few weeks ago, she posted a video showing the green walls that are going to be put up. That's basically going to be kind of like a barrier between the highway there, and then across the way you got the sewage treatment plant. And then, talking about Disneyland, you know, with Avengers Campus, then you got Pandora, and then the biggest question all of us YouTubers are asking is what they're going to do with the Hyperion Theater. I honestly do not
Yes.
believe that they're going to have a show in there. I think that's going to be an expansion slot. Personally, for me, I think it's going to be Avengers Campus because if I don't know if many of your viewers have checked out, I think it was Hey Bricky who did a video probably about a month ago now, about Avatar. the way he laid it out was as soon as you enter the Hollywood backlot, so the arches where it says the Hollywood backlot is where it's going to be like kind of like a park green space that you walk into, and then halfway through kind of where Monsters Incorporated is, that's going to be the start of where Avatar begins. So when I look at something like that, and again, it's not concrete, but Bricky is a very, very inspirational. He's very inspirational, but he has a engineering background, and he worked for the Walt Disney Company. He collabs with them on a lot of projects with clothing and stuff like that. And he has a pretty good idea what they're going to do. Again, it's not concrete, but if that's the case of how he's laying it out is what's got me curious. Then Avengers Campus will expand into that footprint of the Hyperion Theater. And if they do that, the question becomes, what other attraction could you put there? Could you put another roller coaster that might be themed to, I don't know, Iron Man or Spider Man, or you could put a dark ride based off Wakanda and Black Panther. There are so many ideas you could put, because when you look at where that theater sits, it's such a massive footprint. um, I feel like they could put a really awesome ride there and expand Avengers Campus even more. Because the problem with DCA is it has attractions, but it doesn't have enough, and it's never going to be a Disneyland. But if they can add more attractions in there, it would be better for the park.
Mhm. So I'm just pulling up the space that uh, the Hyperion Theater
Sure.
has, and I mean, look at this space.
Yeah.
You have one, like, I don't know. So this is Hollywoodland.
Yes.
Wait, let me zoom in. So this is Hollywoodland, and from like this corner to this corner to all the way near this corner and this corner, you can easily fit probably a Goofy's Sky School.
Yeah, you could probably fit a Goofy Sky School type attraction, but I think they could go a little bit bigger, because also since you have that map pulled up, the building to the left where it says Turtle Talk with Crush, that whole building right there could possibly be an expansion slot. Again, that's just
Mm.
me talking blue sky, but it has been rumored that that might be a footprint, and if that's a footprint, I can only imagine what type of attraction they could put in there. They could put like a Cosmic Rewind type attraction. They could put a roller coaster, again based off one of the Avengers. They could put they can actually, if they really wanted to, they could probably put two attractions if they use both those footprints for Avengers Campus. And one of them could be, again, it could be a indoor dark ride. The other one could be something else. But again, the Hyperion Theater is more likely to be an expansion slot. The other building, again, I'm just blue skying that, but it's a possibility, because people were also talking about how, if that green space that Bricky had on his video did not exist. And let's say Pandora literally went all the way to where the arches are for Hollywoodland, where Monsters is, you know, people are trying to figure out how would you justify walking down Hollywood Boulevard and then going into Pandora. It almost doesn't make sense. So, again, there's a lot of possibilities. I don't think Pandora is going to even start until they start building the Eastern Gateway project. And then obviously that sky bridge that's going to go from the Eastern Gateway project to where the bus unload and load area is, where we saw concept art. Um, but I can tell you this, that if they're not planning on bringing the Hyperion Theater back with a show, I rather them just demolish it and put that land to good use and put another attraction probably for Avengers Campus, if not Pandora, if they don't have that green space park as a buffer.
Mhm. Tony says, we have two comments from Tony. He says, I would vote for a Spider-Man land like in Shanghai.
Okay. It's interesting about that comment, because Shanghai, their Spider-Man land looks absolutely beautiful. I think do they have a land out there, or was it the coaster they built? I can't really remember offhand, but whatever they have out there, I wouldn't mind having that out here. And I've always said that as well. If Disney or even Universal decide to bring attractions from their international parks and bring it to the domestic parks, one thing I've said, and others like Orange Grove 55, George the Disney Italiano from Citrico Central, and so many others have said, whatever you do, you know, don't bring it to both domestic parks. Bring one attraction, or whatever attraction you're bringing from the international parks, bring that to one of the domestic parks, whether it's Walt Disney World or Disneyland. Okay, there we go. So it's a roller coaster, but don't bring it to Walt Disney World and the Disneyland Resort, because you want to give people the opportunity to say, oh, they have this brand new attraction that they don't have here at Disneyland, and then vice versa. People in Florida, oh, well, Walt Disney World doesn't have this attraction that the Disneyland Resort has. So you want to give people the opportunity, to go visit these parks, because the last thing you want is another Galaxy's Edge situation where both Walt Disney World and the Disneyland Resort both have basically a carbon copy, footprint by footprint of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. So when people from the West Coast go to the East Coast, and then vice versa, people on the East Coast go to the West Coast, I don't feel like those type of guests will, basically rope drop or even go visit Galaxy's Edge, because it's like, why would I do that when I have the same thing back home? I want to see other stuff that my park doesn't have, or I want to see a different version of what this park has than my park has. So, and again, bringing up this picture about the coaster with Spider-Man, because we already have a Spider-Man attraction in a vendor's campus. I kind of it's a great attraction for what it is. I just don't feel like people are running to go do it now, because it's kind of like
Mhm.
old news. But I kind of feel if they had a coaster either based off Spider-Man, or like I said, Wakanda with Black Panther, or you got Captain America, or some of these other IPs, or even Iron Man, I feel like it would stay relevant for years to come. So again, I love this idea. Again, will they get rid of the Hyperion Theater and put something like this, or even an indoor dark ride? Who knows? Who really knows?
Yeah. Let's see. Manny, welcome in. He says they should rename Hollywoodland and recreate a whole new land. Hollywood was great when the park opened, but now it needs a
So
makeover.
I would agree with Manny. One of the things that I've talked about, and again, shout out Orange Grove 55, because him and George came out with something very interesting. Because again, we're going through expansions with this park, And like Manny said, it was Hollywood. It was based off Hollywood. You had, some Hollywood aspects to this park when it first opened in 2001, version 1. And then, you had the Golden Gate Bridge. You had that big sundial that never worked. You had some other aspects on the pier with two attractions that kind of reference to like Santa Monica Pier and stuff like that. But the Hollywood backlot and then just Hollywood Boulevard in general, with all these new IPs coming in, like you got Pandora, you got Avengers Campus, you got the Coco Dark Ride that's supposed to be going right next to the Incredicoaster. You got whatever they're going to be building in the Simba parking lot, which is going to be also another extension of DCA, Disney California Adventure. We've kind of come to the conclusion at what point do they rename Disney California Adventure? And one of the names that keeps floating around is Disney Cinematic Adventure. The reason why that name pops up is because it makes more relevant sense. It's kind of like an umbrella type name to all the IPs that are in this park and future IPs that are coming to this park, because I think the California aspect of this park is kind of just going away, period. Um, but you
Yeah.
got Grizzly River Run with the Bear Rock. That obviously is always, going to be a staple of California. And then whatever they decide to do with Hollywood Boulevard, Buena Vista Street, and stuff like that, that's only time will tell what they will do with it. But I personally advocate, and again, this is not my idea, but it was Orange Go 55's idea and so many others, about renaming it, because I don't feel the California name to this park is more relevant than it was when the park opened. So I think it needs a name change.
Yeah. And we've seen this name change before. Like for example, this spring, uh, the Walt Disney Studios Park in Paris is gonna get a whole new name called some dumb name like Disney Adventure
Yeah.
World or something. Um, and so we could even see that become, kind of similar, that uh, the name change of Disney California Adventure might become like what you said, Disney Cinematic
Yeah, and
Adventure.
I kind of feel if they went that route with that name, it would make more sense. Again, speaking about all the IPs that are going to be in this park, and again, whatever um the Simba parking lot's going to bring with park expansion as well. The one thing like you're referencing with the Paris park was, even if you look at Hollywood Studios, it wasn't always Hollywood Studios in Walt Disney World. It was actually MGM Studios, but when MGM left partnership with the Walt Disney Company, they had to rename that park. But that's understandable because you couldn't have MGM anymore as part of the name. But in this instance with California Adventure, I just don't feel the California aspect of that name is really holding up relevant anymore than when it opened in 2001. And I completely agree with you on the Paris park. It is a weird name they are going to. So I don't know. I wish them the best of luck because hopefully people like that name. I'm sure it got backlash. I've heard some backlash of it, but again, we've all seen it in the Disney community. When Disney wants to do something, as much as we can complain, make comments, send emails to them, talk to cast members, boots on the ground, the whole 9 yards, or even protest outside the Walt Disney Studios in Burbank, they've already had their mind made up. And prime example is that if you look at Magic Kingdom, you got Rivers of America that's getting ripped out for some type of cars attraction, or well, not attraction, but land. That's basically a sister version of what we have in Disney California Adventure. And I know people are upset about that because then they're all like, how does this make sense next to Thunder Mountain, Haunted Mansion? And basically they're getting rid of a aspect of the park where it was very beautiful. It was nature. It was just a beautiful sight to go on. A lot of people went to Tom Sawyer's Island, and ventured around. I'm sure people did had picnics on that island, but I get why they ripped it out because it doesn't have the same importance that the one at the Disneyland Resort has. Because the Disneyland Resort, you have to remember some. Our Rivers of America is very unique because Walt Disney himself had he had a hand in creating that land or that island. He had parties on that island where he would entertain family, friends, dignitaries, VIPs. Um, I think he even had some type of celebration on that island. So Walt Disney World's Magic Kingdom version doesn't have the same relevance as ours at Disneyland, but people are still generally upset about it because who wants and again, it's how they wind up doing this park. But the way I see it is who wants to be next to a land that has a e-ticket attraction that basically I don't know how loud it's gonna be, but from what I've seen, basically, riding the Doom buggy that are loud, kind of like what you hear at Tomorrowland with um, Autopia with the gas vehicles. Who in the heck wants to listen to that? So I hope they have a way
No.
to not interrupt other attractions like Haunted Mansion, Thunder Mountain, and other attractions around that area by that noise pollution. So we'll just have to wait and see what's that gonna turn into.
Hmm. I absolutely agree what you're saying. Let's see. Catching up with the chat here. Manny also gave a suggestion. How about Disney Imaginative
And is
Adventures?
he referring to our park at DCA or is he referring to the one in Paris? If he can clarify that. But that's not a bad name though. It's not a bad name. But
No,
um
it's
to kind of go back to the name of Disney California Adventure, basically the acronym would be the same. They're just changing one name out of that title. But again, shout out shout out to him for that name. Manny for that name. It's not a bad option. I just kind of feel the California part of that title needs to go away. It's not relevant anymore, especially with all the IP that's going into that park.
Mhm. Yeah, and if you really think about it, though, um, okay, Manny says yes,
Oh
DCA for
god.
Disney Imaginative Adventures. So, I just want to,
Sure.
you know, say this as well. Um, they can even change the logoing and the fonts
Yeah.
as well. Um, you know, when it first started, we were introduced to Disney's California Adventure with the Bear Rock and the Sunshine and all that so forth. But then over time, wait, why is it not? Over time, um, we got this, which is the current name for DCA. Um, so I would pretty much imagine having them have like a different name as well because of all the IP. Because you got Coco, and then you got Avatar, then you got, Avengers Campus now. Um, and you got all these certain like characters, representatives. There isn't really no sign of California because if you really think about it, the only signs of California we have at DCA is Hollywoodland and Grizzly Peak, and probably the that Zephyr, the
Yeah.
Golden Zephyr ride. That is the only sign of California, like from the actual state representative of
Yeah.
the land that we have
Well, see,
left.
it's very interesting to me because some of the news that broke from I don't know if it was D23 or literally right after D23, but I can't really remember, but Hollywood Studios, they're getting rid of their Star Wars launch bay out there, and they're leveling that to the ground, and they're going to build some type of animation land that basically brings back the old Sorcerer Mickey hat that they had at I think it was MGM Studios at the time, or maybe they just lost their partnership with MGM at the time, but they had the big giant Sorcerer Mickey hat right in front of the Chinese theater out there. But now they're kind of bringing that hat back, but into this new area of Hollywood Studios. I can see something like with Disney California Adventure, if they rename it to Disney Cinematic Adventure, the cinematic part can have that a Sorcerer Mickey type colors with the stars, the blue, the gold, the white. I could see that being a replacement. And then someone posted in the comments, I think it was Tony, talked about Westcott. Westcott was originally planned before Disney California Adventure became what it is today, even back in 2001. But Westcott was scrapped due to many issues with just budget, and then you had people at the time were complaining about having a giant because it was going to be a giant spear sticking way up. I think almost 200 feet in the air, maybe even taller than that, but I think less than 200 feet because they would have to put a blinking red light on it due to FAA restrictions. But people were complaining about something like that, and I think they were even looking at something on the lines of bringing something like the spaceship Earth that you see at Epcot to the West Coast. But people said, well, why would you build two of the same attractions on both coasts, or even structural wise? So that's where they came out with the big giant towering spear. But again, with budget constraints, because Bob Iger wasn't the CEO at the time when that park was being built. It was Michael Eisner, and he had to budget cut a bunch of things, even the old People Mover, which I'm still on the bandwagon about that. But talking about Westcott, because there is, and again, this is all blue sky rumor, no concrete evidence whatsoever, but they're looking at possibly a third gate. And the third gate would be at the Toy Story parking lot. And if they do make that into a third gate, people were talking about maybe they could put Westcott there. Now, will that happen? Who knows? Again, it's really up to Disney how they want to how they want to build things, what they want to build, what they want to bring to life, what they want to shelve. Because I know with Disneyland Forward, because I was watching all the hearings from the Anaheim City Council, was that they ran into a bunch of people that said, from we don't want expansions because you got fireworks that keep us up all night, to employees that are either current employees or ex-employees that work for the company saying that Disney doesn't treat their employees well, or they're underpaid, or there were comments about I'm trying to think that about noise pollution from the lands that they want to bring to the resort. So there was all sorts of issues. So, because if you look at the Toy Story parking lot, it's surrounded by residential area. So they would have to be very careful on what they build there, because obviously no matter what, they're going to get backlash. But as you're pointing out, it is a pretty big area. And I think even up there on the top part, that would be part of it as well. So you got a lot of land for that Toy Story parking lot. And one of the things that just got announced on KTLA 5 is Disney's going to be partnering with the city of Anaheim, because they want to bring some type of gondola. I want to say it's an attraction. It's more like a transportation vehicle that it's basically the Skyliner from Walt Disney World. What they have out there, they want to bring to Anaheim. And that was one of the things Disney was originally looking at when they're talking about possibly using Toy Story as a third gate. And again, that's all blue sky and not concrete, but they were looking at that. And I said, well, if they're going to do that, then why can't we see a expansion of the monorail? A lot of people I've talked to said monorail, it would cost super expensive to extend it, to reroute it. I'm like, well, I kind of feel that the monorail should it should be extended, especially if they're looking at a third gate. And then you got, because it has no stop in DCA period. So that's kind of unfortunate. So if they made a stop in DCA somewhere, whether it's at, DCA, or it's at somewhere on the Simba parking lot where it's going to be an extension of DCA, or even this third gate, they probably would put a stop as well. I think that needs to happen. And if they do decide to expand the monorail, one of the things I've advocated for is during the summer, and Amusement Park Pirates, you can relate to this. During the summer when it's hot in Southern California, they usually do not have the monorail running, compared to its counterpart in Orlando, in Magic Kingdom, where it could be rain, sunshine, doesn't matter, and they're running the monorail because they have air conditioning inside their monorail vehicles. And that's something we're missing out here in Disneyland, especially if they do decide to expand the monorail. I think they need to revisit that idea as well, because to have it down during the summer is a missed opportunity for people to get from park to park if they decide to extend it.
Yeah. And many was actually commenting where to wear. I think let's go over it, because
sure,
like a lot of news, and I have an article from KTLA 5, so let's get into it. So let's see if this, hopefully it loads. Let's see.
But why you're pulling that up, it's very important to kind of have that mindset. Is again, I'm very happy that the Disneyland Resort is building more for Avengers Campus with the e-ticket attraction, Stark Flight Labs, and then they're looking at building Pandora, which they're still calling it an experience. They refuse to call it a land. And one of the things that's concerning to me about that is so far it's only going to have one attraction. There's no news about a second attraction, so hopefully that changes. But go ahead with this article, Pirates.
All right, so this is from the KTLA5 website. So it says the city of Anaheim is continuing a years-long process to connect its two main tourist hubs via the improved public transportation, including, among other options, an aerial gondola system between the Honda Center and Disneyland. A potential gondola system would provide a vital connection between the Anaheim Resort and Triangle, an area under rapid development under the city's two sports venues and its main transportation hub, the Anaheim Regional Transportation Intermodal Center. According to the Anaheim Investigator, which obtained presentations and internal communications about proposal through public records per request, a gondola system would likely run along Catella Avenue and feature 6 stops before branching off at Hollywood Harbor Boulevard to service Disneyland Resort and the Anaheim Convention Center. The gondola proposal is one of a handful of transit options being elevated by city planners. Other methods include a trackless streetcar system, median, or in a dedicated lane. But the city's communications officer stresses any solutions for this mobility puzzle are still years away, with no plan emerging as a front runner just yet, despite any reports saying otherwise. Let's see. What is certain is that the goal to connect the two areas of the city is still a priority for city planners. Development in and around the Platinum Triangle is moving faster than pretty much any other part of the city, and Disneyland Resort continues to be the largest employer in the city and the most impactful Asian. And if chosen, the gondola system will be designed and built by Swift Technologies. And we have concept art or rendering of what those gondolas will look like. So let me see if I can maybe zoom in. Oh, whoa. So yeah, this is going to be, I think this is a good picture because it's like on the way to Toy Story parking lot. And
Yeah.
so
My
consider it as the
go ahead.
for like the Disney World Skyliner,
Yeah.
if you will.
So here's my only gripe about that is the fact that the OC vibe, and what OC vibe is for all your viewers is basically they've been doing a lot of construction around the Honda Center, and I mean a lot, because they're trying to turn it into what LA has for LA Live. That's what they're doing out here in Orange County surrounding the Honda Center. They call it OC Vibe. And there's going to be, and I think some of it's even open by now. I haven't been down there to go check it out at all. But they're supposed to be having condos there for people to live, entertainment, restaurants, shops, typically what you would find in an outdoor mall. So my whole thing is with this is we have one of the biggest events, and I mean literally the biggest event that is what do you call it, that's coming to the West Coast in 2028. and that's coming, which is
The
the
Olympics.
2028 Summer Olympics, and it's going to bring in hundreds, if not millions, of people in the town for that. And obviously, the central hub of the games is going to be in Los Angeles. The actual epic center of it is going to be actually at Universal Studios. Um, but there are going to be some of the Olympic Games that are going to make it to Riverside County, Orange County, I think even San Diego. I can't confirm San Diego for sure, but Orange County and Riverside County. And one of the things I find interesting is, because you read in the article, they're still years and years away from building something like this. You would honestly think, because the state of California has had to have known for almost 5 to 10 years that they were going to get the Olympics here back in California, because it hasn't been back since '84, and that's when my dad went to the Olympics, and he had a blast. But it's been since '84 since it's been back, and you would think with the parks trying to build what they're building with the Avengers Campus, Pandora, the Eastern Gateway project, the Sky Pedestrian Bridge, going into Disneyland, and then you got Universal building Fast and Furious Hollywood Drift. You got other projects that are probably hopefully going to be done by the time the 2028 Olympics happen. But the fact that something like this, which is a transportation system, which could ease a lot of congestion on this road that you're showing in this concept art, because usually this road is like, it's so packed, it's absolutely ridiculous. Any road that's surrounding the Disneyland Resort or anywhere close to it just becomes a cluster F. Is You would think they wouldn't have had this already started to be built, and the fact that they're claiming that it's going to be years and years away is very concerning to me. Again, you got hundreds, if not millions of people, or hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people coming in for this event for 2 weeks. A great revenue for not only the Disneyland Resort, you got Universal Studios Hollywood, you got Knott's Berry Farm, you got Six Flags, you got all these businesses from where Los Angeles is to Orange County to Riverside to Temecula, and San Diego. You got all these opportunities, and yet they're slow rolling on this, and that's something that concerns me majorly about that.
Mm-hmm. I definitely would agree with you. So what does everybody in the chat think about this new gondola system? Let's see. Manny says, "Who is going to pay for that gondola? Disney might pay a portion of it." You know,
Okay.
I was wondering that same thing.
Yeah.
I would imagine, kind of like what you say, what kind of answering your question, Manny, is I think Anaheim, if they're going to build a gondola system in the city of Anaheim, I think that they would have the power of um, purchasing it.
So
What
this,
is you think?
so this is what I think. If Disney decides to get their hands, and work a joint with the Anaheim city, and then the council and engineers and all that, I think Disney might be part of this project, because when they got approval for Disneyland Forward, there were certain stipulations that Disney had to hit, you know, spending wise. They were given a budget, or they gave their budget to the Anaheim City Council, and then they in return told Disney, hey, this is what you need to spend um on projects per year, or every 2 years, or whatever the stipulation was. Again, I can't remember every single detail, but they were given specific instructions on what they need us what they need to build, how much it's going to cost, and they need to reach that gap. So I personally think if they don't reach it with what they're building right now with the Avengers Campus, with the Coco Dark ride, then you got Avatar, then you got the Eastern Gateway project, and you got the Sky Bridge that they're going to build across harbor that connects the Eastern Gateway project to where the transportation hub is, where you can enter security to get into the Esplanade. Um, I personally think Disney is gonna probably be joint with Anaheim to build this thing. I think the real question is going to become, if that's the case and they do join, what type of price point are we looking at? Not just to build it, but to also ride this sky, you know, gondola system. Is it going to cost a lot? Are they going to offer, you know, some type of passes? Is it something you can add to your magic key? Is it something that you can buy, like riding public transportation with OCTA, which is a bus system out here in Orange County, where Disneyland and the Honda Center are at? Or could we be looking at something different? These are the questions that's going to be leading up to when eventually they start building it, and then eventually open it, which at this point, if they're claiming it's going to be years from now, we might not see something like this open until 2035.
Hmm. I would think that for like the cost, it's probably going to take like
Yeah,
millions of dollars to build, especially that concept art right there, art, that rendering that I
sure.
showed previously. Like, how would you get a very clean, like very neat and tidy gondola, and plus, like you have to get a building to like load and unload. You know, it's gonna be outrageous amounts of
Ye-
money to purchase for
Yeah,
that one
because
city. That's gonna take people like to and
Uh,
from the
definitely,
parks.
and you're talking about a lot, and I mean a lot of infrastructure work that needs to happen for it, not just to build the support columns and then the track for this gondola system, but also, you know, underground as well. Imagine what the streets are going to be like surrounding the Honda Center, surrounding that OC Vibe area, surrounding the Disneyland Resort, and just the roads in between both locations. It's going to be a logistical nightmare, because they're going to have to rip the streets up. They're going to have to run conduit underground. It's going to be, I don't know if many of your viewers have seen like Epcot when they went through the massive transformation, and I made a running joke. I said, "Oh, it's like Wall City. It's a Wall City park, because every turn you made in that park, all you saw was construction walls." That's what I kind of feel we're going to be seeing um with this gondola system going from the Honda Center to the Disneyland Resort.
Yeah. Um, let's see. Manny says Wait. Instead of a gondola, build a trolley instead, like a down Catella.
It's possible, but I think with all the traffic they have on Harbor and then Catella, Disney Way, um, and then the streets by the Honda Center, it's so busy, so congested as it is, and having a trolley car would make it even more congested. I personally think so. I think the gondola system is what they're strongly looking at because it doesn't take up any part of the road, and as you saw from the concept art, your people are still going to be able to walk on the sidewalk, so it's not going to take much of the sidewalk as much either. But the other problem I wanted to point out with this gondola system, not everybody's going to be able to ride this thing because people don't like they don't like being elevated like that. So there's going to be a lot of people that just can't do it for, maybe medical reasons, maybe just fear of heights, or just not feeling comfortable, or maybe even claustrophobic. So you're going to have those issues as well. But like I said, what you showed concept wise, from that picture, obviously concept art can always change, but from what we saw, it still shows that pretty much the sidewalk is there. So they're able to incorporate still having the sidewalk, but also having the foundations, the track, the support columns, and the little stations from here and there to load and unload at certain points of this gondola system.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, Hannah Rose also makes a good point as well. Kind of a little bit of a segue, which I did not have planned to talk about this as well.
Sure.
And that is, if the gondolas are going to be there, it's going to be like millionaire fuel for going to Disneyland, because Hannah Rose says Disneyland is making it so hard for people to go because it's really pricey and lots have to say, Ava, just to go. It's a park for millionaires. LOL.
You know what? She makes a great point. And again, that's kind of what I was referring to earlier in the live stream, was the mere fact that they keep raising the prices for tickets, for magic keys, for merch, for food, for just anything they offer at the Disneyland Resort. And Disneyland itself is probably justified. Disney California Adventure, until these new attractions and these new lands, and then we start seeing we start seeing the Simba parking lot being developed for theme park space, it's kind of unnecessary to be charging what they charge for DCA. But I do agree with Hannah 100%, because I even run into those problems myself, and I have a magic key, and I run into those problems because I have the Inspire key, and I tell you, and I tell your viewers, paying $130 a month for the Inspire key is insanely ridiculous. But then on the other hand, paying almost $40 to park every single time you want to go to Disneyland is outrageous. And then, just some of the food you look at, if you look at like a churro, okay, one of the churro carts, it's over $10 just for one churro. So again, it's just, does the question becomes, does Disney have the justification to keep doing this and basically pricing people out, where it's just going to become just where they're going to shoot themselves in the foot? Or do they just not care, and they're just going to keep raising prices, and they don't care what they get it to? That's the question that kind of bothers a lot of people, including Hannah in the chat that came up with that comment.
Yeah, for sure. And I really do think that I've seen like a lot of news posts mentioning too that Anaheim could possibly like lower the prices for not just like just for general like for food prices and parking and all that so forth. Um, I think it is going to be a green light so that Disneyland could possibly do the same.
Yeah.
But I mean, if I was in charge of, if someone was in charge of
Sure.
Disney right now, from their business standpoints, we're just going to keep raising prices because, like, we want the money. We want people to come to our parks. We want people to to buy our merch, buy our food, see our attractions. Um, Forget about the
Yeah.
shows. It's just, yeah.
Well, see,
So
you make a great point about the shows because one of the things that bothers me when you go into Avengers Campus is they got rid of a lot of shows. They got rid of a lot of entertainment, and it's not just on the DCA side and Avengers Campus. It's also at Disneyland as well. There are certain things that they just kindly, quietly axed and haven't brought back, or they don't plan on bringing it back. And you make a valid point. You know, again, it all comes down to the pricing of what they want to charge. You as a consumer have to decide, and it's sad that you even have to play a decision making game. Do I want to go to Disneyland this week, or do I want to wait until next month? Do I want to take my family to Disneyland, or do I want to go to another park, or just say we just can't afford it? That's the tough decisions that families today, or couples, or even just single guys like us are having to make that decision and say, hey, do I have enough money to go? And it's a sad thing to even think about something like that. It's really just, it's not a good situation. I personally think, you know, you look at it and it's like, okay, well, Disneyland itself is awesome. Don't get me wrong, but you got a land, and I'm referring to Tomorrowland, where about three-fourths of it is abandoned. It's like, am I actually walking into a theme park land, or am I walking into something that you can
very,
watch on The Walking Dead, where it's like just abandoned attractions and just forgotten spaces and whatnot? And then I actually call it the land of the popcorn buckets, because it seems like when popcorn buckets drop, that's the that's the land you go to get the popcorn buckets. It's absolutely insanity. But yeah, it's just, again, it's something that's very sad to me that's happening, and it's only going to get worse with, you know, the with the expansions, the DCA. They're going to justify raising prices even more. And again, a great quote from Orange Go 55 and George, his co-host from Citrico Central. They always say it on their channels: if you want to make a difference at these theme parks, you honestly have to vote with your wallet. And what I mean by vote with your wallet is, don't go. Or if you do go, don't buy food in the park. Go get food after you're done with the park for the day. Go to, uh, again, I'm just throwing a reference out there, but go to McDonald's, go to an IHOP, go to Carl's Jr., go to somewhere a lot cheaper than buying in the park if you can't afford it. And, obviously, if you take your kids with you, obviously they want merch. So you have to justify if you want to buy merch for your kids, because obviously, it's supposed to be a magical time at the Disneyland Resort or even Magic Kingdom. And like you said, people are just getting priced out because Disney, unfortunately, they see green and they see money, and they don't really, honestly, in my personal opinion, they don't care as much as they should to the average day theme park guest that is barely making it to the resort as it is, which is sad.
Mhm. Agreed.
Yeah. And then one thing I wanted to add on that comment about voting with your wallet, if you are able to go to the Disneyland Resort, usually they'll send you some type of email that you have on file. And basically, basically they want you to fill out a questionnaire on how your trip was to the Disneyland Resort. So that could be a second defense mechanism, even though your word might not be heard, but at least you feel better as a consumer expressing your opinions to the company. You can also tell the company during that email and say, hey, I had a good time, but you guys are getting super pricey. I don't think I'm going to come back for years to come, or I don't think I'm going to renew my magic key, or, express your opinion. But I always recommend, and this goes with any type of response to any company, you can voice your opinion. You have no problem with that, but always make it respectful. Never, ever, and I mean ever, never, do not ever be disrespectful, threatening, or anything like that. Do not do that. But you're more than entitled to voice your opinion on how you feel about how the park's running, what you saw, what you didn't see, what you wanted to see, what you couldn't see, and so on and so on. So that's just another decision, or another defense mechanism you can use as a consumer. Is one, vote with your wallet. Two, if you do happen to go to the park, just basically in a way, answer the questionnaire. Don't ignore the email, because if you want your voice heard, that's another great way to do so.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Well, we can keep moving, or we can keep talking about all this Disney stuff, but we do have more topics that I wanted to talk about. So, moving away from Disney, um, theme park conductor, you went to opening weekend of Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Studios Hollywood. And feel free to tell us and our viewers at home, how did opening weekend of HHN went for you?
So actually, it went a lot better than I anticipated, because usually opening night, which was September the 4th, which was a Thursday, usually opening weekend is kind of like their hit and miss, um trial error, because they got new cast members, new team members, new just kind of new ways of doing the event, because it's an event that comes once a year. So logistically, it can get a little chaos. But I kind of felt that opening night was a great success. Opening weekend was a great success. Usually on grand opening night, they usually have a red carpet event in Universal City Walk, where they have content creators that get invited by Universal to be on the red carpet. Um, just a couple of people that come to mind is Exploring Attractions, Mondo from Five Fires, Jake Stewart, and then so many others um, that get invited to this red carpet event. that, anyone that's walking City Walk can clearly see. It's not in a separate location where people can't see this red carpet event, because you also have actors and celebrities showing up to this red carpet event based off of either they want to experience Halloween Horror Nights, or their house is featured in the event, their IPs featured in the event, or a scare zone, so they want to check it out. So um usually they'll do the red carpet event probably about an hour and a half before opening night starts, and it usually starts at 7 p.m. And I have to say, because I did the RIP experience, and I do that every year with my co-partner Tommy Toon World, um, and he has a YouTube channel and social, so definitely go check him out. But every single year we do that the first night, then usually the second night, which is Friday, we do general admission with early entry. Saturday, which is the third night of the event, we usually do Express Unlimited with early entry. And going into the park Thursday night, doing the RAP experience, for what I saw compared to previous years, the event ran very smoothly. The ceremony was absolutely incredible. Art the Clown was kind of like the headliner scare actor for that. Obviously, he has a house. We have multiple Art the Clown's scare actors interacting not only on the upper lot but the lower lot, and then obviously where his house is. So absolutely very cool. This was very awesome. This actually blew up on social media and TikTok. Art the Clown, he was in the main Universal store, and he was interacting with guests. He's getting all excited about his merch. So that was a whole conundrum, because they have the same thing in Universal Orlando, where Art kind of does this, going into one of the merch stores and interacting with guests. Obviously in Orlando they had some issues with people trying to follow him and kind of bug him and harass him. I'm glad in Hollywood so far we haven't had that problem. But usually when you see something like this where he's in the store, people will gather around and interact with him, which is okay. But usually they have a team member with him, so that way there's never any issues. So I'm so glad to see this, because I've been going to Halloween Horror Nights since 2014. And I've never seen anything like that, where I've seen an actual scare actor go inside the merch store and interact with guests like that. I've never seen that. So that was absolutely incredible. And then the houses we've had. One house, which was Poltergeist, which is where Terrifier is. You have to walk through Harry Potter, walk through backstage, and go to they call it the T pad, which is behind Curious George parking structure. They had Terrifier, and then they had Poltergeist. The Poltergeist, personally for me, there was a lot of black walls, and that was very unfortunate, because I kind of felt like they had enough there to not have black walls for that house, for that IP. But that was, in my personal opinion, that was kind of one of the ones that I was not. It was an exciting time to go through it. I was just not excited after the fact because of all the black walls. But I have to rank, out of all the other houses, which we have Terrifier, we have FNAF, we have Jason Universe, we have Fallout, Monsters 3, and we have the Wyatt 6, based off the WWE. I have to say my top three houses by far would have to be Terrifier, FNAF, and Jason Universe. And for opening weekend, those three houses, even now, and I could pull up the app here and tell you guys live on what the wait times are, but the wait times for those houses for all 3 days, I don't think it went down below an hour. All three of those houses were more than an hour, if not more than 2 hours for those houses. So it was very, very interesting to me. The DreamWorks Theater brought in a new show. And again, I have that POV up on my YouTube channel alongside with all the POVs from the houses of the event. But they brought a Japanese property called Chainsaw Man. It's called Chainsaw Man: The Chaos, and that is at the DreamWorks Theater, based off an anime property from Japan. So I definitely recommend that if you're in the anime. And then like Amusement Park Pirates is showing right now, walking through FNAF, I really didn't feel it was a scary house. It was very nostalgic. It was awesome to see, especially for people that have played the video games. I kind of felt like a kid going through there, experiencing it like I was when I was, 10, 11, 12 years old, going to Chuck E. Cheese and interacting with the animatronics for the Munch Make Believe band, and then obviously Chucky and some of the other characters roaming around the Chuck E. Cheese floor interacting with kids. That's kind of what I felt with this house. But absolutely incredible on how they were able to incorporate this by far. The animatronics were absolutely amazing. They were made by the Jim Henson company. So absolutely incredible job. And then just the Terrifier house was just freaking mind blowing. It's absolutely incredible. I definitely recommend it. But right now, as we sit here talking about this live stream, the current wait times for FNAF is 180 minutes. We got Jason Universe, which is 90 minutes. We have Monsters 3, which is 45 minutes. Poltergeist is 55. Then we got Scarecrow music by Slash. That's 75 minutes. We got Terrifier, which is 80 minutes. The Terror Tram, based off Blumhouse's 15th anniversary. That's an hour. And the YS6 is an hour. And that's about it currently. And then that Chainsaw Man is 30 minutes, and Fallout is also 30 minutes. So it's a busy night at Universal tonight for HHN, I have to say. But again, besides Poltergeist, and again, I say John Murdy, which is our creative director for Halloween Horror Nights out here in Hollywood. I think he did a fantastic job on this lineup. Again, obviously the downer for me was Poltergeist, but I had a feeling it was going to be like that because we've seen that with Insidious before. So I wasn't really honing in on that house being a banger, but for what we got in that house, it was pretty awesome. But all the other houses, I was just freaking mind blown on how much detail, the scare actors, the facades, the storytelling. It's absolutely incredible. And I encourage your viewers, honestly, I encourage them, if they have not been to Halloween Horror Nights and you like Halloween, you like horror, you like getting scared, I definitely recommend it. And if you have been to Halloween Horror Nights before, and you haven't been yet this year alone, I highly, highly, highly recommend it. And one of the things I want to also point out as well, if you look on the calendar for Universal for Halloween Horror Nights tickets, Express sold out for September. Yeah, sold out for September. It's gone. So a lot of people are buying Express because when you have wait times like I just read out, with FNAF being 180 minutes, Jason Universe being 90 minutes, freaking Terrifier being 80 minutes, that's going to cause some problems. So if you want Pirates, if you want to click on that, so just so we could show your viewers of the calendar, so that way people can just get a gist. This is what September looks like right now. Gone. It's literally sold out. Can't buy Express. I don't know about October, but September is completely just gone. It's okay. So October
October has some dates.
Yeah, so October has some
or
days.
pretty much all days?
Actually, they have all days so far because the ones that are axed out are days they don't run the event. So if you haven't been to Halloween Horror Nights yet in Hollywood, I would highly, highly recommend, if you can afford it, to buy the Express. If not, the Express Unlimited is probably the best deal I can recommend, and buy early entry, because early entry with Express Unlimited, that's the best way I can recommend that you're going to be able to not only visit every single house, but you're going to be able to visit every single house multiple times. You're going to be able to do the Terror Tram. You're going to be able to do that show at the DreamWorks Theater, the Chainsaw Man. You're going to be able to experience a lot of the Halloween Horror Nights theme food based off of Fallout, Jason Universe, and FNAF. That's what I would recommend at this point, being how crazy it is every single night. I would recommend, if you can afford it, Express Unlimited with early entry.
So this is what you're looking at, Express Unlimited. It is almost $300. If everyone can afford it. And there are a few dates in September, but this weekend is all sold out, plus the 20th of September. So if you guys can afford it, like Theme Park Conductor mentioned, make sure that you purchase your Express Unlimited or Express with early entry, because again, like Theme Park Conductor mentioned when he was reading out the wait times right now, you are looking at almost spending your entire evening with just 2 houses, and that's it.
Now there are ways to work around it where you can hit multiple houses. A great example of that was Friday. We met up with Orange Grove 55, and we were able to hit 4 houses, the Terror Tram, and do some foods. But again, it's really honestly a guessing game. You can't really tell on how it's going to be until you're in the park and you're walking around and you're seeing these houses. Obviously, they're going to get a lot more busy. And, I kind of felt like Friday was a kind of toss up in a way, because Thursday, obviously, everyone was going to be there. You got media, you got TV cameras going through the houses, so that caused delays. Friday, it was still pretty packed, but the fact that we were able to hit 4 houses, the Terror Tram, and some themed foods was absolutely incredible. But again, that's just a fluke, as I call it. Like Amusement Park Pirates said, I would recommend doing the Express Unlimited with early entry. That way you can do Express multiple times through the houses. And the only bad part about Express is you can only use the Express line once. That's why I recommend the Unlimited, which, again, shout out to Amusement Park Pirates for pulling up that picture. It is basically about $300, and that's not including taxes on that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Let's see. MH Real says, is that confirmed that they were made by the Jim Henson Company? This is referring to
the animatronics. Yes, they were. That is 100% confirmed.
Nice. Let's see. Tony says, have a good night, everyone. I'll watch the rest of the replay. Have a wonderful night, Tony. Catch you tomorrow. Let's see. So yeah, again, if you guys have the money and if you guys are interested, there is still time left in the season to go to Universal Studios Hollywood. Not sure about Universal Orlando for all you Orlando folks, but really encourage you guys to go this year because these houses, like theme park conductor mentioned, those are all bangers. Like 10 out of 10 rating. And if this is going to be your very first time, we recommend going this year because last year when we live streamed it, the houses were, and you could have, and they were not really scary. They're like really something that it would be used for like Disney or something, like if they did a maze for their Halloween parties. It's just like, for example, the Ghostbusters one. It wasn't really too scary, but this year they really did step up their game, and shout out to John Murdy because he truly delivered for sure. And he is coming up to retirement soon. As far as posts on Twitter and everything goes. So who knows? Maybe 2026 might be his last year as head of Hollywood's HHN, which we'll talk about in later video or live future podcasts when we get up to 2026's Halloween Horror Nights. So moving on, we have now it's time for going back to Disney because a few Thursdays ago we went live to surprise our viewers by going to Oogie Boogie Bash. It was such a wonderful stream last night, and we want to take this opportunity to thank all of you for joining us for that stream. So hopefully you guys had fun. We got a lot of things done as well. We've seen the two parades, which was one of them was near the performance corridor, near the across the street from the Magic Key Terrace, the Sonoma Terrace area, whatever you want to call it, and then in Hollywoodland. And both parades were really good, dare I might say. We almost saw half of the villains that we wanted to see in like over an hour. So we pretty much started with Hades, followed by Judge Doom, followed by Ernesto, then Agatha, and then followed by Syndrome, and no, not Syndrome. Syndrome was after Yokai. So we went to Yokai, then we went to Syndrome, which pretty much we saw almost all of them in like over an hour of the party, which meant that the lines were not that bad. We did interact with villains such as Agatha and Judge Doom and Yokai, and they really did a wonderful job interacting with our stream. I think one of them was when like it was so good, we were like almost like it was a what's it called? We were in Agatha's maze or treat trail, and she saw us. And actually, I do have a video so that we can see the entire interaction. So.
I like the way you think of it. Well, happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween, Agatha.
Thank you. Would you do me a favor? Are you going to be around much tonight?
Yes, we are.
Perfect. You see Billy. He was supposed to be studying. But I noticed a couple of candy wrappers where he was supposed to be studying. And I think he's out around here. So if you see a lanky teen, looks like you went through Hot Topic, would you let me know?
Yes, we would definitely let you know. See ya. Bye, Agatha. So that's how good the villains were from our experience at Oogie Boogie Bash. Because they were just too good. Too good. As far as Villains Grove, we did do Villains Grove. We pretty much went towards that area when the first parade let out. But the only surprising thing was that the line for Villains Grove was like out to the entrance to Soarin'. That's how long the line was for Villains Grove when we first got there. And so, glad we made the right choice to come later. So pro tip, if anyone is going to Oogie Boogie Bash, is do not go to Villains Grove after the first parade, because all the crowds are leaving and all that so forth. Try to go later in the night. But we did look at some merchandise there. Those were pretty nice as well. They did have a little, which pretty much was the merch stand near Mermaid entrance. We did not try the food though, but there were some new things added that I do want to touch upon. They do have that new Jack face in the parade. They had Syndrome, which was the only new villain added, as well as many more people as well, and new things that to talk more of. But we did bring a big shopping bag, which was totally worth it. So pro tip, if anyone is going, make sure to bring your shopping bag, because those little shopping bag, those little bags, they just put handfuls of candy, depending, if you wear a costume or what have you. And also try to get a locker as well, because your candy bag might be a little bit heavy as well. So let's see. For magic key holders, they did get these buttons as well. Let's see if I can show you guys a photo of what they look like. So actually, before our stream we actually went to a photo op location, and you can get these little buttons that they gave away. So basically, only thing you have to do is to show your Magic Key Pass, and then they give you these buttons, and they also give you a little bit of candy as well. So they seem fun. They seem pretty cool. And they feature Lock, Shock, and Barrel, including Oogie Boogie, with a Magic Key logo and Oogie Boogie Bash and all that so forth. So overall, you are looking at the same party, same attractions, especially with low weights. Overall, we give our experience about a 7.5 pirate flags for the entire party, 9.5 pirate flags for all the villain interactions and Villains Grove alone, because it is so good and it is totally worth your ticket. We give it a 10 out of 10 pirate flags, hands down. With all the lights and the projection effects, and it's just so amazingly cool. So that is our review for Oogie Boogie Bash. So let's see. Patrick Julian, have a wonderful rest of your night. We'll catch you next time, friend. Alrighty. So, well, I think that's going to have to be it for today. If theme park conductor, if you want to add anything else, if you want to add any extra topics you wanted to talk about.
No, I think I'm good. I think we covered everything. And again, I'm so glad to be on your channel. Sorry it took forever. My scheduling has been all over the place with work, and then trying to film content for theme park conductors. So but I'm so glad I was able to make time for this, because I know I've been meaning to come back on your channel and talk all about this. But no, again, everything we talked about, from the Disneyland Resort expanding, it has a bright future as long as they can do it right, which I hope they can. To Halloween Horror Nights, which is a must do this year at Hollywood, to the mere fact of talking about what's going on in Epic Universe, Universal Studios Hollywood, with the Fast and Furious coaster, that I still honestly think it's gonna soft open probably in the next couple months. So we'll have to wait and see on that. Like I said, I'm going to be at Universal tomorrow. I was not planning on going anywhere tomorrow, but shout out Theme Park Wizard for letting me know that the gift store is going to be opening tomorrow. So I definitely want to go check that out, take some pictures, do a POV video, the whole 9 yards, probably run into some friends there. Cannot wait to go see that. Probably do a TikTok live from Universal Studios Hollywood. But no, it's a great time to be a theme park fan and be a theme park content creator. So I could not be happier.
Exactly. Well, that wraps things up on our podcast stream. Thank you, theme park conductor, for joining us. Once again, would you mind telling our viewers where they can find you? And please tell us when you will be making new content.
Yes.
Next.
So again, shout out to you, Amusement Park Pirates, for having me on. I had an absolute blast. Like you said, I'm Theme Park Conductor. You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, Blue Sky at Theme Park Conductor. You can also find me on TikTok at Theme Park Conductor 1. You can also find me on X at Theme Conductor. You can also find me every Sunday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for Conductor Sunday live stream, where we have amazing guests like the one and only Orange Coat 55, Tommy Toon World, George from Citric Coast Central, and hope to be soon. Once again, Amusement Park Pirates will be joining one of the live streams very, very soon. And we talk everything from Universal to Disneyland to HHN to the up and coming Christmas season. Cannot wait for that. It's going to be an absolute blast. I love doing it because I love doing Festival of Holidays at DCA. So that's going to be an absolute great time. I do have current content. All the HHN Hollywood 2025 POV house videos are on my channel. Also, the show at the DreamWorks Theater, that show, The only show I did not do was The Purge, because it was basically the same as last year. So you can go find that on my channel as well. I also have a POV of the Terror Tram based off the Blumhouse 15-year anniversary. So definitely go check that out. And then tomorrow, like I said, I will be at Universal Studios Hollywood probably in the morning to early afternoon to check on not just the opening of the gift shop of the Fast and Furious Hollywood Drift building, but I was also hinted at possible ride testing might happen between the station and the maintenance bay, and a little bit of automation movement without a pull through might be happening. So I will definitely be there to film POVs, film little shorts, and take pictures. Also, I will be doing a TikTok live from Universal, so definitely stay tuned for that. Also, I'm trying to think, if you do see me in the park, whether it's Universal or Disneyland, or you see Amusement Park Pirates, we definitely encourage you to come say hello, come up to us if you want to take a picture or just say hi to us or talk to us. I encourage you to do so. Dragon Blood, my TikTok name is Theme Park Conductor 1. I had to change it, so that's what it is. But yeah, I encourage all of our fans to come up to us if you see us in the park, and please come say hello. It's an awesome thing to know that we have fans out there that love our content. So definitely do so.
Yes, and I just put your TikTok in the chats as well. So now that Theme Park Conductor shared his out, once again, we are Amusement Park Pirates. Please join us live tomorrow on the main channel, because we will be live streaming from the Disneyland Resort in Anaheim, California. We'll be live at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 o'clock for Eastern. We'll be going on some rides, seeing some shows, and maybe a little bit of Grizzly River Run if we can do it with those likes. So keep smashing that like, keep supporting the channel. Not just our channel, but also Theme Park Conductors as well. We appreciate the support, and we thank you all for this journey. We also have a new travel advisor, Nick and Shannon Jenkins from Ear to Their Travel. Use the link in the description for to book your next trip out to whatever, Disney, or any other destination in mind. So, Theme Park Conductor, it was so nice to have you, and hope you can join us again real soon for more talk about Disney and whatever else is going on in the theme park world. To our other listeners, if you haven't already done so, please smash that like button and subscribe if you're new on the way out, which is free to do, as well as our amazing moderators. We thank you so much for your hard work, keeping the chats clean, engaging, and positive for anyone who enters the chat. As well as also, we want to thank our Ninja Watchers as well. Thank you for listening at home while you are doing whatever else you want to do. Let's see. And pretty much until then, we will see you all in the parks real soon. Good night, everybody, and see you next time. Let's see.